Here we are at Salt Lake in Salt Lake City. This is the Saltair concert venue. It used to be a big ballroom and a big place where everybody would come and entertain themselves during the summertime. We're going to be looking around the Great Salt Lake, and also this is the third building right here. This is the third Saltair that has been built. The original one was built back in the late 1800s, and it was fantastic. It was a beauty. It represented the money that America had in the late 1800s and the early 1900s before the Federal Reserve came into action in 1913. After the Federal Reserve came into action in 1913, well, they've been just draining America dry, and now over 100 years later, America is almost drained, and this is the building. This is what the building looks like after 100 years of the Federal Reserve System. But we're going to be looking around at the Great Salt Lake and the Marina. And again, this is the third Saltair that was ever built. So here we are. It's just a shell of its old self. It's just a shell of a building. They do have a gift shop. Let's go in and take a look at the gift shop. And as you can see here, a picture of it in 1900, a big difference. When America used to have money and before it owed $220 trillion, this is what the Saltair looked like back when America had money. Here we are inside the Saltair. Occasionally they do have some concert venues here, but most of the time it stands empty like this. I'll show you the empty shell. There is a gift shop in here. Here's this building used to be a hangar, I believe, for the military also. So here we are in the empty Saltair Pavilion. This is the Saltair Pavilion. It's on the south shore of the Great Salt Lake in Salt Lake City, Utah. Now the lake, this building here is about 15 miles away from Salt Lake City. As you can see, it's just an empty building now. Occasionally they have concert venues in here, but it's nothing like the original first building that goes back to the 1800s and the early 1900s.
This is an aeroplane hangar.
Uh-huh.
This airplane hangar.
Yeah, they bought this from Hill Air Force Base to put a roof on it. The original one had a big dome.
Oh, so
nobody could afford to do that. Well, the original building burned down.
oh, the original building
Yeah,
burned.
this is the third one they've built.
Oh, so what we're looking at here is like the third building, huh?
Well, not on this spot. The other two were 2 miles to the east.
Now I'm not really sure if that staircase is original to the first or the second building, but I'm thinking the S symbol, the symbol in the floor, that probably is original to one of the first or second buildings. So here we are in the Saltair Pavilion, 15 miles outside of Salt Lake City. One thing to remember is the Great Salt Lake is about 3 times as salty as the ocean would be. That's why they call it the Great Salt Lake. Well, as you can tell, it's a very windy day out here on the Great Salt Lake, and there's not too much sailing going on. We're going to look around the marina and look at the sailboats in the marina, and that'll do it for the Salt Lake City, the Great Salt Lake video, and the third Saltair Pavilion.
Birds love them.
How do the birds get a meal?
Well, they'll be in the shallow water in their beaks, and they'll pick off one or two or three of those at a time. Now, I don't know if we caught any that are. Most of these are female. The way you're going to tell is they have a little tail, a little bit of a tail.
Well, it was very windy and you could barely hear the tour guide talking, but what he was doing was he was catching some of the brine shrimp. As he said, the birds love the brine shrimp out there in the Great Salt Lake. And let's take another peek at the marina.